Hey everyone, let's try something fun today. How much do you actually remember from your very first science classes? I'm talking about those core ideas you learned when you were like 7 years old. Well, we're about to put that to the test. Okay, let's kick things off with what should be a pretty easy one. There are blank planets in the solar system. Is it 6, 9, or 7? I bet an answer just popped right into your head. Got it? Okay, lock it in. But what if I told you that your answer might be wrong, at least according to the test we're using today? And the reason why is actually the most interesting part. So get this, our source for today's quiz is a real Science Olympiad guide for second graders. And in this guide, the correct answer to question 44 is B, 9 planets. Isn't that great? It's like a little time capsule. And it's a perfect reminder that scientific facts can actually change over time as we discover new things. Sorry, Pluto. So, are you ready to test your brain against a 7-year-old's curriculum? Let's see what other basic truths you might have forgotten over the years. Let's get into it. Okay, our first round is the Living World Challenge. We're talking absolute basics here. Plants, animals, the kind of stuff you'd see on a nature walk. This should be a walk in the park, right? Let's start with a simple classification question. We see plants all around us every single day. But do you remember the simple categories we first used to tell them apart? So, which one has a strong, woody stem that we call a trunk? And the answer is the tree, of course. According to the guide, the differences are super clear. A tree has one single strong trunk, a shrub is smaller and has a whole bunch of woody stems, and an herb, well, that's the one with the soft green stem. Simple, clear, and straight out of second grade. Okay, let's switch over to the animal kingdom. This next question gets right to the heart of the biggest difference between plants and animals. What's the one crucial thing that all animals, from a tiny bug to a giant elephant, just can't do? They can't make their own food. That's it. It's such a simple but huge concept. This is what defines them as consumers. Plants are the producers. They use sunlight to make energy. But animals have to get their energy by eating. It's one of the very first things we learn about the web of life. All right, let's zoom out a little for our next section. Our planet, our sky. This is all about the big picture stuff. Water, air, and all the things we see when we look up. Time for a vocab question. We all know what it means to water the plants. But what was that fancy, scientific word we all had to learn for it in school? Irrigation. That's the one. It was probably one of the first big words you learned in science class, describing a really simple and vital process. It's not just about a watering can. It's the whole idea of building systems to get water to crops so they can grow. Let's stick with water for one more. This one's a key part of the water cycle. I bet you had to draw a poster of it at some point. So when that invisible water vapor rises up into the sky, what does it become? It forms clouds. It seems so obvious to us now, but for a second grader, that's kind of a magical idea, isn't it? That invisible vapor gathers together to create those huge, puffy shapes we see floating above us. It's really the cornerstone of understanding weather. All right, for our third round, let's bring the focus a little closer to home with the Human Body 101. Let's find out how well you remember the absolute basics about the very machine you live in every single day. Here it is. This might just be the most classic question in all of elementary school science. The guide asks it simply, how many sense organs do we have? You know this one. Of course. The answer is 5. And here they are, the classic 5. Sight, smell, hearing, taste, and touch. Each one is a gateway to experiencing and understanding the world around us. I bet you got all 5 of those without even blinking. Okay, moving from biology to something a little more practical. This section is called Rules for a Safer Life. These are the lessons designed to keep a 7-year-old safe. Let's see if they've stuck with you all these years. Okay, a multiple-choice safety question, straight from the guide. When you're boarding a bus, should you A, force your way in, B, board a moving bus, or C, stand in a queue? This is a real tough one. The correct answer, thankfully, is to always stand in a queue. It's simple, timeless advice that works just as well today as it did back then. Some lessons really are for life. We've made it to the end. It's time for the final exam. We're going to finish this up with a quick lightning round of true or false to see how you did. Ready?
All right, here we go, nice and fast. First up, overeating makes you healthy. That's false, of course. Next, plants pollute the environment. Absolutely false. They do the opposite. And finally, sheep give us wool. That is true. So, how'd you do? Did you ace your second grade final? And that brings us to the end. It's fun to look back at these simple questions, but it's also a cool reminder of something important. Science starts right here, with these basic observations and rules. You know, whether it's remembering there were 9 planets or that trees have trunks, it all builds a foundation. The really important thing isn't just remembering all the facts, but remembering the curiosity that made us want to learn them in the first place. Thanks for playing along.